إسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمنوا بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمنوا بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمنوا بإسلامي وإيماني.
Today's rundown on Proudly Muslim.
الكون والزمن يحب الكون ألحاني فألحاني له سكن.
Beautiful things are happening when the sun goes down, and when the night is darkest, that's the time our light shines bright. It's good to take some time away to put a smile on someone's face. So smile for me, smile for you, smile because you know that happiness is sure. Let your joy be more. So everywhere you go, you can make your laughter loud. You don't have to be there to make your presence felt. No matter where you are, we can be together in love. Together in love. No matter where you did, together in love. No matter where you are, together in love. I will always be with you.
يا أخي ادنوا مني لا.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created us. Alhamdulillah, and welcome to another segment Tip Nabawi. Inshallah, today, as you can see, we're talking about water. A human being actually spends the first period of his life in amniotic fluid, which is actually water. Now, the importance of water to the human being is also portrayed in the Quran. Nothing can exist without water. Everything was created from water. In fact, there's a variance. Some people say 95%, some people say 80%, some people say 75%. The human being is made of about 85% water. So, the water itself has a big role to play in our lives. Now let's go back to the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad in terms of water. Alhamdulillah, he tells us about everything. And in terms of water, the Prophet told us one of the best, the purest waters on earth is the Zamzam water. Now the Zamzam water, the Prophet Muhammad told us that once you drink the Zamzam water and you make any intention, anything you intend for the water to do, inshallah, that's going to be for you. For instance, if you take Zamzam water and say, oh, Allah, I wish to be one of the most knowledgeable people and pious people in the land, and you drink it, it will be so. If you take Zamzam water and say, oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this year I need to build a house, please make it easy for me. Either Abu Hanifa or Imam Hanbali used to drink the Zamzam water and make supplication that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should make him a knowledgeable person that will be also pious with his knowledge. So water is a very, very, very big topic. In fact, if we go back into what people have done, the research on water, in 1980, we had a Professor Jack Ben Venice. He had a theory called the water memory theory. And what was his theory? He said water actually has a specific memory. That means, how did he demonstrate this? He said if you put water down and you put a plant in it, that water has the imprint of that plant in it. You could get the imprint of that plant. Even if you remove the plant from the water, you can get it. But this was a scientific abnormality. So actually it was shut down. And about 2001, there was another doctor called Dr. Luke Mutmainna. He was actually one of the people who isolated the HIV virus as we know it today, and he won a Nobel Prize for that. He took up the works of Professor or Dr. Jack Ben-Venice, and he actually proved, and is proving, that water has a memory. And there was also the works of a Japanese doctor called Dr. Masaru Emoto, E-M-O-T-O. What Dr. Masaru Emoto did was that he took containers of water and he actually said words into them: love, hate, I love you, I hate you, and he labeled them. And what he did is he froze the water and he looked at this water under an electronic microscope, and he found out that the water that he said some bad things into actually had bad molecules. The crystals, bad crystals. And the ones that he said things positive into actually had good crystals. So Dr. Masaru Emoto actually wrote 6 books called Messages from Water. However, before the end of his life, he had a Saudi Arabian student who told him about the Zemzem water. So what he did was that he went and he got the Zemzem water. When he got the Zemzem water, he froze the Zemzem water and he played a portion of the Quran into the water, and he saw the most beautiful crystals that he had ever seen before. Shortly after this, he died in 2014. Now, there's another German doctor working on that aspect of energy medicine with water, and he's working on Zemzem water. Now, his own theory is that once you drink Zemzem water, your energy fields increase. And he has a machine to prove this. You put your hand on the machine, it measures your energy fields before and after you have drank Zemzem water. So when you put your hand on the machine after drinking Zamzam water, you see your energy fields have actually increased. And let's go back to the words of the Prophet Muhammad. Because the words of the Prophet, people are going to come back to it. It's the reality. There's no way we can get away from it. He told us, there was a case of a Sahaba who was actually in the Kaaba. It was Abu Dhar for 40 days. And he approaches the Prophet and asks, he says, I was in the Kaaba for 40 days and 40 nights. And the Prophet said, who was feeding you? He said, I was living on Zamzam water. You living on Zamzam water? Alone? He said, yes. And you know what? I had enough strength and I didn't feel tired. In fact, he told the Prophet Muhammad that, look, I actually got a bit fat and I have wrinkles on my belly. Then the Prophet looked at him and said, Zemzem water is both a drink and nutrition. In another hadith, it was said that the Prophet Muhammad said it's also a healing. It's also a healing. Now, what we found out is that there's more to the Zemzem than meets the eye. And if we go back into classical physics or biology, we go back to 1930. something called the Warburg effect. Otto Warburg actually got a Nobel Prize on this. And his assertion was that disease cannot exist within a medium of alkalinity. It can only exist within a medium of acidity. And if you drink Zamzam water, it turns acidity into alkalinity. And you have a perfect, compromise between both in your body system. So once you drink Zamzam water, what it's going to do is that if your body is acidic, it's going to get it back to an alkaline state. And personally, I did this experiment myself. I went to get a pH meter. It was a pH agent. I put 2 cups filled it with water, and there was the test is when you put the agent in it, it turns red if it's acidic, and it turns green if it's alkaline. So I did that, and one turned red, one turned green. But I went a step further, and I put Zamzam water in the one that turned red, which is acidic water, and guess what? It turned green. So this is the effect it's going to have on your body. And we're already documenting cases of people who have been healed of terminal diseases. There's a book on Islamic medicine by Hajjaj Hamad. He has a case of someone from Paris, her name was Laila or something. She had a stage 4 cancer. So she decided, the doctor told her she had 3 months to live. She went down to the haram, that okay, I'll finish my life in the haram. During the haram, she was there, she was making tawaf, and she only took Zamzam water and a few dates. According to her, she finished the Quran so many times, begged Allah for forgiveness and for healing. And after this, she found out that her purple spots on her body were gone. She went back to Paris, and it was found out that, oh, she has been miraculously healed of cancer. Now, science has its basis. Islam has its basis. The words of the Prophet Muhammad have their basis. What we're asking people to do is actually to have a paradigm shift. The history of science shows that if you have a different idea from the established scientific principles, you are going to be, ostracized. This happened to Galileo. This happened to people who said, oh, the earth is round and the earth is flat. This happened to the Stoics. Some people were burnt at the stake. But as Muslims, we can make recourse back to the words of the Prophet Muhammad. And I was watching a documentary on the Zamzam. It was a pure documentary in Arabic. And what happened was that there were actually a lot of experiments on the Zamzam. There was a beautiful doctor, heart surgeon, who was practicing open heart surgery by taking the heart out and washing it in Zamzam and putting it back. But, there was not enough funding for it. So what I want to arrive at is that as Muslims, we must go back. We use the Zamzam, and it's safer if you go to Mecca, because now there are so much versions of Zamzam. If you go into the Kaaba, in fact, I have a person who wants to do a 2 days water fasting, not the 40 days that Abu Zal did, but a 2 days water fasting, going to the Haram and not taking anything for 2 days except Zamzam. If we look at that theory, just think how the body will be rejuvenated, how the acidic contents of the body will actually go up. And a person actually told me that when he goes to the Kaaba and he drinks a lot of Zamzam, his wee-wee turns out very white. And this is an observation that you have less toxins in your blood, you have detoxified your system and everything. So water itself is a very, very important part of life. And even if you're not using the Zamzam, it's important that you take, on a personal recommendation, at least 4 liters of water a day, at least. And that translates to 8 sachet waters, they call them pure water. 2 in the morning after Subui. Before Subui, take another 1. When you take your lunch, take 2. That's already 5. And make sure you round everything up before possibly 8:30 or 9 o'clock, so that you don't keep on waking up to pee and this disrupts your sleep and whatever. If you do this, you'll see that your health will increase by about a whooping 30%. There are statistics to show that Americans, 70% of Americans suffer from something you call CMD, chronic mild dehydration. And the way it works out is that your immune system works with the white blood cells, and the vehicle of the white blood cells is water. So when the body deploys the white blood cells to fight disease, the medium that they use to get to the organs is water. So if your blood is thick or is acidic, it takes a slower time for these white blood cells to get to these places where they fight the disease. So water is very, very, very important. And we should also drink water, and it prevents malaria as well as typhoid. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us the tawfiq to practice some of these things. I know we have Zemzem at home. We've probably had it in a cupboard since we came back from Hajj or Umrah. Inshallah, I urge us to try and use it. And I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will preserve our lives. Jazakumullahu khairan.
بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني